Hello YouTube. So on my old computer video, I actually had I got a couple thousand views, around 5,000 views on that video, and I had people asking me all about my configuration with the H100 and the NZXT Phantom case, and I thought it was about time that I made a new video because I have actually upgraded a lot since then, and I don't have the same configuration anymore. I still have a push-pull configuration with the fans, but rather than having the rather than having the fans up here like I had them in the old video, I actually have two 200mm NZXT fans set up, and the radiator one sec. I have the radiator actually set up with the bracket that came with the NZXT case. It's a little L bracket right here. I don't know if you can see it, probably can't. But pretty much what happens is I got the 200mm fans installed on the case like normal. Then I have the L bracket installed to these holes right here. See, 1, 2, and 3. Both L brackets hold the radiator for the H100. Hold it suspended in the air right below the two 200mm fans. And on the bottom, I have the stock Corsair 120mm fans. And as you can see, it's still running in push-pull configuration. Just now, the top two fans are the 200mm NZXT fans, and not the 120mm fans I had before in my old video. Because if you have seen my old video, I actually had the 120mm fans up here in this area with the radiator mounted directly up where the two 200mm fans would be right now, up against the case here, just below it. And I opted to just get rid of the two 120mm fans and just install these nice big 200mm blue LED NZXT fans, because they actually at lower RPMs they pull out more air than just 120mm fans, and it actually lowered my temps by around 2 to 5 degrees Celsius at any given time. So they're working out pretty nice. Pretty much that's what I have it right now. You can, right there, you can see at the top, you can see the two 200mm fans, then the radiator right underneath it, suspended by the included NZXT L brackets, and the bottom two Corsair stock 120mm fans that came with the H100. So this is still essentially a push-pull configuration. Just like I said, the top two fans are 200mm, and they pull much more air than the old 120mm fans I had. So here I have the bottom two fans intaking the air from the case. They're pushing the air in towards the radiator, and the top two fans are exhausting the hot air coming out from the radiator. So that's a basic push-pull configuration. Another thing you could do, or what a lot of people actually do and have suggested to me, is to reverse all fans so that they're facing down towards the case. So pretty much you have the top two fans acting as an intake fan, so they're pushing the air through the radiator and into the case, and the bottom two fans here, they'd be pulling the hot air and exhausting it out into the case itself. Now here, if you do that, you're gonna get cooler CPU temperatures because you're getting the air from outside of the case, the cooler air from outside of the case into the radiator itself to cool it. If you do it the other way around, where like the way I have it set up right now, where it's pushing the air from inside the case, naturally you're gonna get warmer air going through the radiator because of the other components inside the case. The inside of the case is not as cool as the air outside of the case, just because of that, because of the GPU, the power supply, the hard drive, or whatever else you might have in there. Even if you have inside fans, like here I have 2 side intake fans. This fan actually I turned around and I'm using it as an intake fan instead of an exhaust. And I have these 2 fans here as an intake and that as an intake. So I got all these fans acting as intake fans to pull cool air into the case itself, so that naturally these 2 fans right here, the 120 meters, they have more cool air to draw into the radiator to cool it. However, that's still not as cool as the air that you'd be getting if you had the top 2 fans here acting as intake. But if you do decide to do that, if you do decide to have the 2 top 200 millimeter fans or whatnot, whatever you have, acting as intake, you're gonna affect the temperatures of your GPU, either if you have SLI, Tri-SLI, or whatever, Crossfire. You're gonna affect the temperatures inside your case, since you're intaking cool air from outside, it's going through the radiator, and these 2 fans are exhausting the warm air from the radiator into the case itself. So you either sacrifice overall ambient case temperatures for cooler CPU temperatures, or you sacrifice CPU temperatures for an overall cooler ambient case temperature in your case. Maybe might be hard to understand or explain, but if you think about it, you'll get it. That's pretty much it. I mean, I've done a couple upgrades to my case overall. I added some cold cathode lights. I kept the little mod I did here, though. I actually changed it. I put a 140 millimeter fan in there, and I have still the basic intake right there. I also bought a, let's see, I got these cool little illuminated strips right here. You can see this one right here. You can't really tell it's turned on, but it's turned on. Let me put the window back on. And there it is. As you can see, again, these are actually exhausting the hot air out from the case. And those 2 right there, they're the ones taking the air from inside the case, pushing it through the radiator. And these are the ones pulling it out. That's a basic push-pull configuration. And just an overlook of my case. I opted to go with the white and blue scheme here. Looks pretty nice. There we go. But yeah, I like this setup a lot more because the reason I actually had I had the top 2 120 millimeter fans up here rather than inside the case was because previously I had really big RAM heat sinks. I had the rip jaws from G-Skill, and that the G-Skill heatsink was bigger, so essentially I couldn't have all the radiator with both sides mounted with fans inside the case, because I would run into the actual heat sinks of the RAM. So I was forced to improvise and put the 120 millimeter fans up here where this little area is. But with this, I mean, I replaced my rib jaws with smaller RAM heat sinks, and it's working a lot better. They're also black. I mean, I had red before, and it's going more for a white, blue, black setup here, and it turned out fine. I mean, it looks pretty nice. If you guys are wondering what these are illuminated EL strips. They're you can cut them however size you want, and you can just stick them on your case. And I actually got them. I'll show you real quick. I got them hooked up to the power supply itself. It comes with everything you need. I'll put a link in the description so you can see where to get them. Those are the power switches for the EL strips. I'm not sure if you can see it too good, but here, I'll turn one off. There. You see? Pretty nice. Give a little nice blue accent when the room is dark. So yeah, that's my updated build as it is right now, and that's how my H100 is configured as of right now. I've been thinking about going with a full custom loop. The only problem I have with those is I tend to get lazy, and you know, having a custom loop takes a lot of patience to set up, and takes a lot of maintenance to keep up. So that's why I like the H100. It's nice, it's small, easy to set up, and you pretty much set it up and forget about it. You don't have to mess with it too much. So for anyone who has an H100 and wants to use it with their NZXT Phantom case, there it is right there. Works fine, works great, does its job, and keeps your CPU relatively cool, even at low settings. And the NZXT Phantom is it's a really nice case overall. I like it a lot. So thank you for watching. If I decide to change up my configuration again, I'll make sure to update the video. So thank you guys.